live YouTube stream. So remember, if you want to see this on YouTube, you can go over to YouTube and watch it there. But exciting. So we're here. We're here. It's Saturday, and the seminar has arrived. Remember, I really want you to join in on this live Q&A, which is going to be in an hour's time. And we're also going to do is we are going to, after an hour, we'll stop. Once it stops, then we're going to do a restart so people can also ask questions on here as well. Okay, so I'm going to bring Maxine in. Say a couple of hellos. Hi, Maxine.
Hello, how are you?
Well, thank you. Very well. Very excited about this seminar you're going to be holding today.
Yes,
and,
me too.
Quite a few people that have been tuning in.
Yes,
so what have you got in store for us?
Sorry?
What have you got in store for us?
Well, today we're going to talk about all champion mentality. So everything you have to know about how to feel and become the champion that you want to be.
Okay, yes. Sounds fantastic. So I'm going to hand over to you, and I'm going to be dealing with all the technical things in the background. I also need to have a quick chat with everybody on Martial Arts Worldwide and Martial Arts Universe.
Awesome.
So have a good seminar. We'll see you at 3 o'clock. I will come back over at 3 o'clock, and we can restart the live for the Q&A.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
No problem at all. Good to see you.
Just good to see you too. Yeah, see you later. All right. Hello, everybody. I see a couple of people are here right now. I'm really happy to see you. Thank you for joining the live, being here today for the seminar. So as soon as you jump on the live, just say hello. Don't be shy. I love connecting with you guys. This is what I like to do. So, like I said, today we're going to talk about champion mentality, everything you have to know about what is a champion's mindset, what you have in mind when you feel like a champion, you want to be a champion. So I'm going to switch my head on both sides just because I'm live right here on YouTube and I'm also on IG. So this is why maybe I'm not like having eye contact with everybody at the same time, but just know it's because I'm looking at two screens. Okay, so while the seminar today, if you have any questions, you have anything in mind that you want to ask me, just keep it in mind, maybe write it down on a piece of paper. And at the end of this seminar, after an hour, we're going to have a Q&A session together. So I'm going to stay here to answer all your questions, everything that you could have in mind that you want to ask me about mindset, mental preparation, sports psychology. So yeah, just write it down to make sure that you don't forget, because obviously while I'm doing the live, I'm going to be focusing on talking and not necessarily answering questions, but I'm going to read your comments. Maybe once in a while, I'm going to be reading what you're saying at the moment. So yeah, let's start with this. So hi, my name is Maxine Noel. So probably you don't know me. So I just want to introduce myself first. So I'm Maxine Noel. I'm a ITF Taekwondo athlete, former ITF Taekwondo athlete. I used to compete on the national team, on the Canadian national team. So yes, I'm from Canada. I speak French, my first language, but as you can see, I also speak English. Everything that I do right now is mainly in English. I used to compete a lot. I used to compete as, I competed at 6 World Championship, also at 2 World Cups. I am happy to be also twice world champion in team pattern, second on in pattern, and also twice third sparring. So that's really nice. This is what I've done. And I'm also a 4th degree black belt. So this is a bit about my everything about me towards Taekwondo. But right now I'm here to talk to you about mindset because I'm a NLP athlete specialist. So now I work with athletes to help them know themselves better, but also being able to access their fullest potential. So this is really what I do. I love helping athletes just feel better about themselves and also achieve what they want, being able to tap into their potential and actually show the world what they can do. So this is what I'm all about. And like I said, today we're going to talk about being a champion, okay? Being a champion, what it means exactly. So I want to ask you guys one question first before starting everything. I want to know for you, okay? Let me know in the comments what you think about that. But when I say a champion, being a champion, what does that mean for you, being a champion? So I would love to like see one of your answers where you can come up with. What does that mean to you to be a champion? So I see, hello to the people that are here. Nice to meet you, nice to see you. So I want to start with talking what it's like to be a champion. What does that mean exactly to be a champion? Because I'm pretty sure that when you think about being a champion, you don't initially just think about the medal. You don't just think about being on the podium. You actually think about how you're going to feel when you're going to be on the podium. What does that mean exactly when you win and you succeed? So this is actually what we are aiming to. That's what we want, to actually feel that we were able to give our all and to be on the podium. We want to know that we can be proud of ourselves with what we have done. And when we receive the medal and when we are on the podium, we feel like, yes, we are good. Being strong and prove that you aren't weak. Okay, that's your definition, being strong. I like that. So when we become a champion, we have this feeling that we can finally say that I am strong, I am confident, I know my worth. This is actually what we are looking for. And this is what I want to talk about today exactly. Not necessarily what it takes to have a medal around your neck. A champion doesn't need to win at all. The fact you got in the place, you have to be thankful for getting there. Yes, this is actually part of it. Totally, I totally agree with that. So today I'm going to make you question certain things, because my job actually is to make you see other perspective, is to actually challenge what you already know about your own reality. What you think about being a champion is maybe different compared to what I think is a champion. And that's totally okay. Everybody has its own definition of being a champion, and that's totally fine. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm not be talking about the regular no pain, no gain type of mentality. I'm more going to talk about what it feels like to be a champion. And actually, what if being a champion also means that you can be like that in every single area of your life? Well, actually, being a champion is actually a state of mind, a state, an internal state more than anything. All right. So that's what we're going to discuss today. So for me, being a champion is actually being aware of who we are, being aware of what we can do. It's actually being clear on what we want and why we want it. Being a champion is also being courageous enough, okay, to face our fear and take action. It's actually also being present to ourselves, being present to the voice in our mind, being present to what's going on inside of us. Being a champion is also being confident in our ability to take action. And finally, being a champion is also being able to celebrate and be grateful for everything that we do and all the steps that we take. So that's what we're going to discuss today. Being a champion is more an internal state, is a way that we feel more than something that we do. Okay, and the way that I describe it, okay, is actually being able to access this internal state through 6 other states. The way that I just described it is actually with awareness, okay, being aware of yourself, being clear about what you want, being clear. You also have being present to yourself, being courageous, brave, being confident, and being grateful and being able to celebrate yourself. So I'm gonna actually discuss all these parts today: the awareness, the clarity, the presence, courage, confidence, and also the pleasure and the celebration part. This is what we're gonna discuss. So let's start with this. Awareness. First of all, this is the first thing that I talk the most about, being aware. What does that mean exactly to be aware? What does that mean exactly to be conscious of ourselves? Being aware for me is being able to know what's going on in my mind, what's going on in my body as well. Being aware of your thoughts, being aware of your reaction. So this is usually the first step, okay? The first step of everything. Oh, I hear something in the background. Okay, good. So being aware is actually where you start. So you imagine yourself, you have to know where you start from in this journey, your current situation, your current place at the moment that you are in. Okay, so I don't know if you're athletes, so you are practicing martial arts, you're maybe a taekwondo artist, you do something like this. Maybe you are, and maybe your goal is actually to become a world champ at some point, to become the best at what you do, to test and get your black belt. Maybe that's something that you want. Well, in order to get there, you have to know where you start. What is your actual current situation? What are your current results that you're getting? Are you someone that is actually pretty stressed about what you do? Are you someone that is getting afraid of the thing they have to do, or you don't know the thing you have to do? Are you a beginner? Are you intermediate? Are you like already a champion in your country? Just being aware of where you are at the moment. And I will take this analogy throughout the whole seminar today, the analogy of the driver, okay? So you as you are, you can see yourself as being a driver, okay? As being the person in your own car. Your car represents your vehicle, okay? And you're in this life and you start, obviously, when we start a journey somewhere, we're in our car and we start at a current situation, at a current location. So you have to know everything about this place first in order for you to start your journey. So what are the kind of results that you have right now? What are the thoughts you're having on your day-to-day basis? Are you someone that's, like I said, pretty stressed, anxious about the day? Are you someone that's pretty confident about what's going on? Are you proud of yourself? What are the type of recurring reaction that you feel throughout the day? So that will be one thing to be aware of. And this is one of the most important steps, because in order for you to get what you want in this life, whatever it is, you have to know where you start, okay? You have to know exactly where you're coming from before knowing where to go. So that's awareness. Then after that, we tap in the clarity state. Clarity, being clear about what we want, being clear on the goals, being clear on why we want to achieve these goals, and being clear about what these goals are going to bring us. What are the impact of these goals on us? So this is really important to realize. When we know where we're coming from, okay, our current location, we have to know now what is the final destination, what is the thing that we want to achieve, where do we want to go, what is our final destination. So maybe you, like I said, you want to become a world champ. Maybe you want to be able to do this specific technique in your class. Maybe you want to just become less stressed, being more confident about yourself, being proud of yourself, about the thing you do. Maybe you just want to grade and get your black belt, but you have to know exactly what is the thing that you want and why do you want it. So the question I would love to ask you is, why is it important for you to get to this place? Why is it important for you to get this goal, to achieve that, to get there? Because if you don't know why you're doing this, obviously it's going to be hard to feel motivated to do the thing in order for you to get there. So be really clear on your motivation. Be really clear on the thing that is pushing you to get there. And also another thing really interesting to ask yourself is, what are you going to get from this objective? Why are you so motivated to get there, to achieve that? So if you want to be a world champion, what being a world champion is going to give you in this life? What is the advantage of being a world champ? If there's more advantage than disadvantage for you, then obviously you're going to be, again, more motivated to go all the way there and do everything it takes to get there. So being clear on what you want, on your why, and on the impact of your goal is how you're actually really clear on the thing you want. So that's the second one. Then after that, you're clear on what you want, you're ready to start your journey. And now you're taking the road, you're getting to your final destination, you're working towards your goal. And at some point, there is this voice that comes in, okay? We all know about this voice in our head that is kind of annoying, that is kind of always there reminding us about the thing that can go wrong about us. There's this voice that is pretty scared about everything, pretty dramatic as well. So I like to call this voice the ego. So in our head, okay, we get to a point that we have a lot of thoughts, about a lot of things that can happen. You know, all the what if scenarios, all the what if this happened? What if it doesn't work? What if you didn't train enough? What if you're not enough? What if it's going to take a long time before you get there? What if you didn't do the thing that you needed to do? What if you have a blank and you forget what you had to do? What if you're not taking the right road? So all these questions, all these thoughts, they're actually negative thoughts. So maybe you're familiar with this. Maybe you feel that you have negative thoughts, negative thinking, way of thinking. Well, when you have a lot of negative thoughts, it's easy to become overwhelmed with them. It cannot actually, what if I lose my hope? This is actually what can happen, actually. When you have a lot of negative thoughts, you get lost in them, you get stuck with them, and you feel that nothing is possible anymore. But what if it was actually not you having these thoughts, but just this voice that is actually external from you? That might seem weird the way that I'm saying it, but I love to dissociate this voice in my head, to see it as something external from me, to see it as something that is not actually me, but just a part of me. Because the ego, like I said, this is the way that I like to call it. You can give it a name. You can actually name it the way that you want. That can be really helpful too. But the ego, okay, its role, its intention is to keep you safe, is to make sure that you don't get out of your comfort zone. The ego, its main goal is to protect you from pain. It doesn't want you to experience pain in your life. It want to make sure that you stay in your comfort zone, that you stay safe, that you don't try anything that can be uncomfortable, that you don't try to do anything that is actually connected with the unknown. It doesn't like the unknown. And when you decide to achieve a certain goal, you're going to face the unknown. You're going to face something in your life that you don't know the outcome. And that's what your ego is afraid about. So when this happens, the way that your ego will react is by giving you a lot of negative thoughts, actually creating a lot of drama in your head, a lot of scenarios that do not make sense. But for a second, when you listen to them and you get stuck in them, they actually make sense and you start believing them. So you start being afraid. And then it gets hard for you to get out of that, to get out of it. So when you're in this state of presence, I'm referring to that right now. When you're in this state of presence, you are able to actually know who is talking in your head right now. Are you the one in charge at the moment, or this voice is in charge of what you're doing? Who is in charge at the moment? Who is driving your car? So I'm going to refer to this analogy again. Like I said, you're the driver. You're the one who wants to get to this final destination. You are driving, and all of a sudden, this ego that you can see as a kid, I love referring the ego to a kid. Okay, this is my way of doing it. So when I see my ego as a kid, as a little kid, it was doing a fit, getting in a fit. I don't let the ego, the kid, take the wheel. Obviously, I'm the one driving. I'm the one choosing where I want to go. I don't let the ego tell me which road to take, because the ego is going to try to take the road that is most known, that is more comfortable, but that will not necessarily bring me where I want to go. So I have to make a choice here and decide, okay, which road am I taking? How am I going to get where I want to go? Am I listening to my ego, or I'm doing the things that I want to do? So this is your own choice at the end. You have to be able to have you cannot actually deny your ego. You cannot try to get it out of the car, okay? You cannot delete the ego. You cannot cancel the ego. That does not work. Actually, the ego is really helpful in certain cases, okay? It has a precise purpose in your mind, okay? It has something to do, actually. But when you want to achieve something in your life that actually is new, that you've never done before, or that you know is going to be in a way hard and that is going to be pretty scary, your ego is going to come in and try to convince you that it's not the way to do. This is not something you should do. So at this moment, you have to make a choice. Do you follow the ego? Do you let the ego drive your car, or you actually take the wheel and you decide which direction to take? So this is actually the question you have to ask. And when you're present to yourself, when you're focused on what you have to do, when you know where you want to get, it's going to get easier. But you have to be aware of this voice. You have to know who's talking at the moment, and you have to take the control back. And to do so, this is when we enter the courage. Okay, so this next internal state is courage, being courageous, being brave. So we hear about, okay, being brave is actually being able to face our fears. Okay, maybe you are afraid to fail. Maybe you're afraid to being disappointed. Maybe you are afraid to being rejected. Maybe you're afraid also to not be enough. These are the main fear that we face most of the time. And these can be really hard on ourselves. This can be really difficult for us to actually surpass that. But you have to make a choice also, okay? You will never stop being afraid in this life. You will never stop being afraid, because when you're afraid, actually, what does that mean? When you are stressed about something, when you're afraid about something, what actually happened is that what you're about to do right now is important to you. Okay, it means that it's meaningful, that is significant, it is important to you. So that's why you get scared, because what if it doesn't work? What if you fail and get disappointed? And the mind is really afraid of being disappointed, because it thinks that if you're disappointed, you're going to feel pain. And the ego wants to avoid the pain as much as it can. So unless you're able to be courageous enough, you're going to get stuck in your fear. The way to surpass your fear, okay, and to go on the other side and continue to get your goal is to actually being courageous enough to, even though you're afraid, still take action. Still doing the thing that makes you feel scared, that makes you feel like, oh, I kind of don't want to do that. That's not for me. But still use your courage, being brave enough. Do you consider yourself brave right now in your life? And brave also, something that I want to mention is, it's not necessarily just about the action to take. It's not just about, am I afraid to take the next step? Am I afraid to take action? Most of the time, we are afraid to change our perspective, to believe something else, to believe something that we're not used to believe. For example, if I'm telling you to be positive about this situation, most of the time we feel like, well, I'm not a positive person. I am more negative, on the negative side. I have a hard time being positive, because I feel that if I'm positive and actually it doesn't happen the way that I want, if I believe that I win and I actually don't win, well, I'm going to be disappointed. So I'm afraid of believing that things can go right. So this is actually when you need courage to actually make the choice, the conscious choice, to still choose positive outcome, to still choose that it can happen. Because when you focus on the things that can happen well for you, when you focus on the positive, when you focus on the thing that can go right, you have more chance to attract this positive outcome, because this is where your focus is. This is where your energy is. This is where your attention is. So obviously, if you put all your energy and your focus on the positive outcome, you have more chance to attract this result to you. So if I take an example. If you're competing, okay? If you're competing and you have two choices when you compete. You can either be really anxious and stressed about the person you're going to compete against. You can think that this person trained more than you. You can feel that you didn't train enough. What if this person is more flexible than you? What if this person is actually stronger than you? You can think about all those things. And when you think about that, it makes you feel even more stressed. It makes you feel scared. It makes you feel not good about yourself. And then you have to think about, okay, now I have to refocus. I have to think about something else. But you still keep your focus on this. But what if you change your focus and be, I know I trained enough. I did everything I can to be prepared today. I am ready. This person can be ready, but I am ready too. It doesn't mean that if this person is ready that I am not. I feel great in my body right now. I'm proud of what I've done so far. I'm confident in my ability. I believe that it's going to be all right. And even though I do not win, I'm going to be all right because this is temporary. I can win the next time also. But most of us are really scared to think like this because we're afraid to be disappointed about the result. So are you going to be courageous enough to change your way of thinking? Or are you going to get stuck and just keep your negative thinking? So this is all about courage. So then after that, when you were courageous enough to challenge your mind, to challenge your mindset, then you start being able to access your confidence, your internal state, which is the confidence state. Are you confident? Do you consider yourself confident? Most of the time when I work with athletes, oh, and by the way, I see some comments right now, some question. I'm just telling you, I see them, but at the same time, there's so many comments that it's hard for me to just see them and just acknowledge them right away. So if you have questions, I'm going to take the time at the end to answer them. Okay, so if you have real question about everything that I'm talking about right now, just write them down and remind me later, okay? Because right now I'm running this first part, okay? I'm talking about all these things. And then after an hour, around 3 o'clock, I think for you guys, I'm gonna be answering all your questions. So just keeping in your mind for now, and I'm gonna take the time later, all right? It doesn't matter if you win, you lose. Oh my God. All right, so let's keep going with that. So like I said, do you consider yourself confident? Do you consider yourself as someone who is confident in your day-to-day life? Most of the time when I work with athletes, when they talk to me, when they come see me to work with me, they tell me that they don't feel confident. They want to be more confident in their ability. They feel that that's what they're missing, confidence. But actually, we're all confident at our core. The thing is, we have a hard time tapping in this confidence when we want. We have to reach this power when we need it. And the way to do so is actually, it's simple. Maybe not easy, but simple. We talked about courage before. Well, the way to feel confident is being able to see recurrent positive results. So the more that you see positive results, the more that you see yourself being able to do a technique, obviously you're going to feel more confident about doing this technique because you know you have a proof, you have evidence that you're able to do it. You have evidence that it can work, and your mind knows that. So it's going to agree that you're able to do it. So therefore, you're going to feel confident. Another thing that boosts your confidence is when you trust yourself, trust your words. So when you commit yourself to something, do you follow through? Do you finish the thing that you start? If you never finish the thing that you start or never continue the thing that you began and you commit to, obviously it's going to be hard for you to trust yourself because even though you say you're going to do something, you don't finish. Because either you're afraid that it's not going to be the result that you want, it's not going to be the thing that you want. So why continuing? So self-trust is a big thing. Being able to commit fully to something and being engaged is something really important. It's not about courage and confidence. It's all about truth towards God. That's all, my friend. Yeah, actually, let's talk about that, about faith. Actually, not necessarily towards religion. I'm going to talk about trust and faith right now because these are really important to feel confident. Not just confident about yourself, but confident about life itself. Because if you don't believe that things going to be all right, it's hard to feel confident. When you don't believe that you're going to get a positive outcome, when you don't believe that things going to be all right at the end of the day and everything is for you and not against you, that things are happening for you and not against you and not to you, it's hard to be confident. So another thing that is really important to have in mind is, do you trust life itself? Do you trust the universe? Can you trust that things are going to be all right? And it's when you are able to believe that and trust that, that you're going to feel more confident about yourself and about the things that's going to happen. This is all about perspective. Okay? Changing your perspective is going to change your result, because you're going to start seeing things differently. You're going to start seeing things in a way that you never seen before. And for some reason, you're going to get different results from that. So when, for example, you compete, you get in a tournament, okay? You get in a tournament and then you lose. You can either see it as the worst thing ever in your life and tell yourself that you're never going to compete again, that life is the worst thing ever, that life is against you. You can tell yourself that you were not good enough, that's why you lost. That's a way of thinking. And then on the other side, you can see it as a way of learning. You can actually challenge yourself and be brave enough to see it as, what if this is telling me something? Because losing doesn't mean anything. We gave it a meaning, personally. We either believe that it's wrong or it's bad, or either believe that it's okay, it is telling us something to learn. What are you learning from the thing that you fail at? What are you learning from this? What are the things that you take away from this experience? Everything that you take away from any experience can actually bring you further in life, further on your road, okay? So when you make a mistake, when you do something that don't work, it only tells you that this is not the right way to do it. Let's try something else. That's the only meaning. But it's a choice to see it like this. This is a perspective. So you have to decide for yourself. Is this the way that you want to see it? Are you brave enough to see it like this? Because the more that you see things like this, the more you're going to get confident about your own ability, about the things that you do. You're going to keep going. You're going to be more resilient. Yes, we have to learn from our mistake. Exactly. Because if we only see them as things that are bad or not good, well, what are the things that we're learning from that? What are the things that we're getting from that? Nothing. And we just feel even more bad about ourselves. But what is these experiences are actually giving us the opportunity to grow. Because remember, guys, the goal here, and yes, I'm a former athlete. I work with athletes as well. But everything that we think about when we think about a champion, it's about growth, about evolution. It's about growing in a better version of ourselves. Because being a champion and acting like a champion, feeling like a champion, it's actually just being able to tap in our fullest potential. That is what it is, actually. When you feel like a champion, is you feel confident, you feel proud of yourself, you feel strong, you feel good about who you are, you feel authentic, you feel real. That's what really being a champion is. It's not about the medal or the podium. Yes, you can aim for that. You can get that, no problem. That is part of the journey. You can achieve that if you really want it. Doesn't matter. But think about also your day-to-day life. How are you a champion in your day-to-day life? And the more you act like this in your day-to-day, in other areas of your life, at school, at work, in your relationship with other people, wherever, when you're able to actually feel confident that you are a champion in this area, that you act like a champion in this area, obviously your confidence will increase, will go up. It will work for you. We have to do it again and again and again. Keep going. And just know also that the goal that you actually decided for yourself at the beginning that you want to achieve, if it's to become a world champion, well, the first step is to just get clear on that and to start. And as soon as you start, the only thing that can stop you is yourself. If you decide to abandon, to stop, well, it's your decision. But if you keep going, even though things are happening, and you decide to see that as learning experience instead of blockers and things that are like preventing you from winning or from achieving what you want, well, if you see it as good, as beneficial, you're just going to keep growing, being better, becoming the best version of yourself. and life's going to be amazing to you. And the last part, guys, because we talked about awareness, we talked about clarity, we talked about presence, courage, confidence. The last one is celebration, pleasure, fun. Because I know as an athlete, we don't necessarily associate fun and seriousness together. So either we are having a lot of fun when we practice, but we don't think that we perform when we are having a lot of fun, or we have to be really serious, and this is the only way that we're going to be able to get what we want. But what if we can mix both when we train, when we practice, when we live, actually? What if we can be, we can have a lot of fun, having pleasure, being excited about what we do, and still be serious and focused on the task? So this is where I want to bring you. I want you to be able to incorporate more fun, yes, in your trainings, but also in your day-to-day. Because when we're too serious, when we're taking life too serious, the journey is not nice. We have a hard time enjoying the journey. And a lot of time when I work with athletes, okay, as a mindset coach, as a NLP athlete specialist, when I work with athletes, people tell me that they have a hard time enjoying the road. They have a hard time like appreciating everything that they're going through. As soon as they get a result, they're already thinking about the next thing to achieve. When they get first place, they're already thinking about what they have to improve to become even better, which is not bad to think about what you have to improve. But you have to be able also to appreciate it, feel satisfied about the thing that you just done, you were able to do. Because otherwise, even though you're aiming for more, you will not be able to appreciate the next step, the next level, the next thing that's coming up for you. That's going to be really hard for you. So where it starts is being able to appreciate all the milestone, all the step that you're taking at the moment, all the results that you're getting at the moment. Being able to appreciate that, being able to celebrate that. So I don't know for you guys if you're able to celebrate in your life. Is it something that you do on a regular basis? Is it something that you don't really think about? Because I know a lot of athletes who have a hard time celebrating themselves. They don't feel that it's actually the thing that they just achieved is not worthy enough to be celebrated. But everything in this life, if you decide, can be worthy of celebration. Everything can be meaningful. Everything can be good enough. So you have to be able to obviously be grateful about your whole journey, but being able to celebrate every step, everything they're achieving. So maybe you're injured right now. Maybe you have a hard time when you train. Maybe it's hard for you to just do these things. But what if the next day you're able to do that move, you're able to do that thing that is taking you more time before? That is worth celebrating. Because if everything is meaningful in your life, then your life is an experience. It's way more nice. It's great. It feels better. Feels way better. Because otherwise, we're just aiming for the result. We're just aiming for the medal. We're just aiming for the goal, which is great to have goals. But you know, where you're at right now and the final destination, what happens in between the road, it's actually life is happening in between. So how are you actually having a good time while you're on this road trip? This is what I want to ask you. Celebrating yourself is a big part. Having pleasure, having fun, integrating more fun in your day-to-day. With music, with whatever you feel like. And when I say celebrating yourself, doesn't mean throwing a big party, because obviously right now in pandemic and everything, I don't think it's going to be the place for it, but depending on in which country you're in. Well, when I mean celebrating, is just being in this energy of celebration, just feeling good about yourself, feeling good about what you just did, being able to appreciate that. Because if you're able to appreciate that moment right now, when you're going to become a world champion for real, well, you're going to be able to appreciate it and feel good about it and actually feel whole and complete. But you can feel whole and complete at the moment, right here, right now. It's not something that you have to wait for. you can actually access it at this moment. So these 6 internal states, these 6 keys that I talked about today, these are the ones that will help you access your full potential. So I'm just reminding you, awareness, consciousness, this is the same thing. We think about clarity, confidence, calm, presence also, courage, and pleasure, celebration. So these are the ones to have in mind to work on, actually, to access the goal that you want. So depending what you're aiming for, what you're looking for, what you want in this life, you have to be able to access all these states. You have to know where you're going, okay, where you're at right now, where you're going, why you want to go there, what is your goal, why you want this goal, how you're going to feel while getting there, actually managing this voice in your head that's getting crazy, thinking about doing something that is out of your comfort zone, being courageous enough to change your mind, being confident in your ability to do so, and then being able to celebrate every step on this road trip. So this is how you do it. All right. So that's it, guys. So these are the keys for a champion mentality. And this is maybe not something you were thinking about. Maybe that's not something that you had in mind when you say like being a champion. Because for me, I truly believe that everybody has a potential to be a champion. But being a champion starts in your mind, starts in yourself, starts in your heart. It's not about the things that you do. It's about the way that you do the things, who you are when you do these things. It's not about practicing forever and doing a lot of hours of training. Obviously, hard work is important. Okay, the more you work on your craft, the better you will become. But also you have to know how you do the things, okay? Who you are when you train is mostly important. Who you are in your mind, how you react, okay? How you see yourself, who you are as a person is what's most important. And then after that, that will influence the thing that you do, the action that you take, the choice that you make. And then you're going to get the result that you want. But it all starts in your mind. If you're able to face the fears that you have, if you're able to calm yourself and deal with your voice in your head, if you're able to be courageous enough to change your perspective and see life differently, you're going to be able to get whatever you want. So I see that right now I'm having some questions. So I can start answering questions right now for the one that have them, no problem. So if you ask me questions before, okay, if you ask me questions earlier, well, let me know right now. I can answer them because it's going to be a long time scrolling back all the way up to all the questions. But if you have something in mind at the moment, let me know. Do you think if you give training online, that will work? Well, by the way, I saw some people asking me what I do. I'm a mindset coach. I work with athletes to help them actually perform at their fullest potential, to know them better, making sure that they know themselves good so they can perform like they know to, feeling authentic and perform and becoming the best version of themselves. So I do work online. I do coaching sessions online. So I think you're able to see my name up there if you want to follow me and see my work. I'm from Canada and I'm 25. I saw another question just before. Do you think if you give training online? Yeah, I saw this. What's the main thing that athletes need? Athletes need to know themselves better than they know right now. Athletes need to know who they are. Why I haven't friend? Let me know, guys, if you do have question right now, it's the time so I can answer them. And thank you for your time, by the way. Thank you for the one who were here. I am really grateful for the people who took the time to listen to this seminar, took the time to just enjoy and learn more about what is mindset work, what is mindset training, because it's not everybody who takes the time to do it. Great. My inspiration, that's a great question. I like that. Well, like I said in the beginning, I'm a ITF Taekwondo athlete. So I used to compete as a Taekwondo athlete. And my biggest inspiration was actually Katja Solvay. So from Ukraine, she was a big inspiration for me. So how an athlete became legendary. Well, if you have to start by believing that you can become legendary, and you have to know what it means to you being legendary. What does that mean to you exactly? Yeah, my mind says simple, work more, talk less. Okay. You have to know also why you're working though. That would be great. Other question, guy. Hello to everybody. Glad to know you too. Thank you. Pleasure to see you. Anything you want to know about champion mentality? How long does it take to train the mind? Great question. Actually, when you train the mind, what happens is it can think forever. But no, for real, actually, when you decide to train your mind, is as soon as you feel that you're facing a wall, as soon as you're facing that you're stuck somewhere and things are not happening that you want them to happen, that you do not get the result that you really want, that's when you can start, you can think and start talking about working on your mind. This is actually when you realize that it can be important. Thing is, it would be amazing to start working on our mind as soon as we begin a sport, because we will actually know a lot more about being confident and being courageous and all that good thing. But when we don't see a problem, we don't look for a solution. So as soon as we face a wall and we feel that we want to get to the next level, we want to feel better about ourselves. We want to feel better about what we do. That's when working our mind is the best. And then after that, how long it's going to take depends on you. It depends how committed and engaged you are in the process. It depends what is the type of goal that you want to achieve with that. If you want to become more confident, this can be achieved depending what it means to you. What will tell you that you're becoming more confident? What will tell you that you are confident at this moment? So it really depends on the type of goal that you have and how committed you are to this. If you have lost a few times, how do you break this cycle? So this actually, when you lose at a tournament, when you lose in a competition, okay, you have always two choices. It's either you see it as something that is not good, something that will bring you down all the time, that tells something about you, that tells you that you're not good enough. Or you are able to see it as something that is bringing you up, like you can learn from this thing. You can learn from why is the reason you think that you lost at this moment. What do you have to learn from this experience? And then the work that you would have to do after that to make sure that you are improving and evolving is to actually knowing that the past doesn't define your future. Meaning that if you left in the past, it doesn't mean you will lose again in the future. You have to be able to like break this cycle for you and believe that there's another option, there's another possibility for you in the future. So you have to be clear on what you want. You want to win? Okay. So if you want to win, how do you want to feel about winning? What do you want to believe as true? What do you need in order for you to feel better about winning? So by knowing that, it's going to be easier to focus on winning than to focus on not losing. Because if you focus on not losing, you're still focusing on losing, if that makes sense. So you have to break the cycle. You have to work on your mindset, obviously, and know for sure what it takes to win at this moment. If you're at the top of your game, how can you maintain a motivation? Oh, that's great. Okay, so if you're already won in the past, you already won before. Obviously, there's always something to improve. There's always a next step. So it would depend really, for most of the people that are already on the top, I would say it like this, is to actually stay there. the big motivation is to actually stay at the top and maintain their training and maintain their focus on what they want. So in order to keep yourself motivated, you have to know, why do you want that? What is the reason that you want to stay there and be the best still? What is your core motivation? And from there, you can be more flexible and be more at peace about the things you have to do to stay there. Just knowing exactly what you need to stay at this position and focus on what is going to bring you. And knowing that, again, talking about celebration, having fun, integrate more fun about it. But yeah, that's gonna keep you at the top if you maintain this mentality of you're having fun, you're able to be serious, you know why you want this, you know how to achieve this. You've been through the whole process. So you know actually how to stay there. You just have to keep your mind, I'll actually make sure that you don't listen to this ego that will maybe bring you reason why it's possible that you lose at some point. It's just having a better relationship with your ego. Mm-hmm. All right, any other questions, guys? Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Hello. Yes, actually, obviously the ego can stop you from winning if you let it do it. So the ego is this part of us, like I said earlier, that is preventing us sometimes from winning, that will actually tell us what can go wrong, what will not work. And if we keep our focus on that, it's hard to actually see the possibilities and the option, the things that can work for us. So yes, if we are not able to see another perspective, to see the other possibilities, it's going to be hard to be able to win, because we're actually focusing on all the things that can turn wrong at this moment. So having a better relationship with it, being able to talk to it, and being able to just take charge of your own self will help you. Can ego be removed permanently? Well, no. I was about to say unfortunately, but actually the ego is beneficial to you. It protects you from real danger. The thing is, the ego has a hard time dissociating what is a real danger from a not real danger. So it will be really dramatic about the things that can happen to you. But the thing, like I said earlier, what actually you can do with your ego is having a talk with it. Like making sure that as a person, as who you are, you're able to take charge of what's happening and being able to keep the focus where you want. And your ego, the way that you have to talk to it and have a relationship with, is by comforting the ego. What I mean by that is really being able to reassure the ego, comfort the ego by saying that everything is going to be okay, and proving to the ego that there's chance that things turns out differently than what it thinks, is giving evidence that things can go right instead of going wrong. So it's more about the relationship that you have with your ego, more than trying to delete it and being mad about it. Because the more you're frustrated about your ego, the more it will come back to you and it will be mad about you.
Hello.
Hello.
So I'm going to do a restart now.
Okay.
Before we get cut on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got a few questions that I'd probably like to ask myself. So
awesome.
So we'll do that, and we can see what everybody else is asking at the same time.
Great.
And we'll integrate both into the last part of this seminar. That's all right with you?
Yes, awesome. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to just end this now before Instagram do it for us, and then we're going to restart. So tune straight back in, and we'll see everybody in 2 minutes' time. So tune straight back in, and we'll see everybody in 2 minutes' time.
So from YouTube, actually, I'm still here live. If you have any question, let me know in the comment. I can answer back later over here.
Okay, just going to wait for everybody to join back in, and then we're going to bring Maxine back in and continue with our seminar for a little while. So whilst I've just got you all here, if you've got any questions, anybody that's been tuning in so far, I've been listening to what's going on in the seminar, if you've got any questions, pop the questions down at the bottom there, and we'll see if we can get them answered for you. I'm going to go live with Maxine again now because I've got a few things to ask her myself. As I say, if you've got any questions, please do ask. It's just, thanks for joining. Okay, hi Maxine.
Hello. So good, and you?
Okay, so you might not have seen me, but I was definitely tuning in the background there.
Yes.
Through martial arts worldwide. So, some interesting points there. And a few things that I'd like to understand myself about mindset and the difference that it takes to be an elite athlete over a normal athlete. So one of the questions is exactly that. What makes you an elite athlete over a normal athlete?
I would say the big difference is mainly about the way that you see yourself. So obviously what you believe that is possible for you will make a big difference. So if you believe that you can achieve certain things, that you can become this champion, that this is accessible to you, you will act differently than someone that don't believe that it's possible. So it is really about the trust, and this is why also it can be important to surround yourself with people or that have either achieved that already, or that you look towards, and you know that this is possible, that can be achieved, and the way that they think and that they act can be actually you can reproduce yourself, so you know that it's possible. So that will be a big thing. Trust towards trust about what is possible for you.
And where's the best place really then to take your influences from? Is that from looking at your peers, or is that going to be from reading and learning?
It can be a mix, a lot of things. Depends for every people, I would say. Personally, obviously, if it's closer to you, so your peers, people that you know personally, that would help because you see exactly what they're doing, the way that they act, and the way that they think. So it's easier for you to have in mind that it's possible. And you can also read certain books, more book about people that did it already and how they were thinking. But you have to find, first of all, also yourself, the way that you think and believing it is possible for you. So if you don't know this first, it's going to be hard to actually believe that if it happened to them, well, it doesn't mean necessarily it's going to happen to you, but it's going to give you actually more trust in the process. If knowing their story, also knowing where they started from, knowing that they were a beginner as well, and they started from the bottom and now they're all the way up there. So you see what it takes in between the journey and all those things. So that's going to really help you. So yes, the books, but also watching people. Now it's beautiful because online we have access to a lot of people, maybe people that we thought that were so far away that would never be able to see in person, that now we can work with across the globe. So that really helps to be all right, this is achievable. This is something that I can do myself as well. If I listen to this person and I get inspired by this person, this will bring me up. And after, obviously, you have this work to do and keep going and taking action and be courageous enough, but this will actually bring you towards what you want.
I'm brushing on your peer group and your peer group's mindset. How much of a negative impact can it have on you if you have people saying to you that you can't do something?
Obviously, this will obviously it all stuff about what you think about yourself. So if in the first place you have a hard time believing in your abilities, you have a hard time trusting that you're able to do something, and then these people are telling you this is going to be hard on you, because there's going to be no proof to your mind that you can actually do it and keep going, that it's possible for you. So you have to find other examples. So maybe it's not possible for you to go to another school, another place, but at least know that there's other people that are doing the same thing as you, knowing that there are other people that are aiming for the same thing and that believe that it's possible. So the work will start for sure with yourself, knowing that it's something that is possible, that trusting that this is something that can be a thing for you, and then looking for people that already done it, looking for people that are inspiring, obviously, but are motivating you, that kind of have the same story, that can be obviously inspirational. But just know that the people around you, maybe they do not have the same perspective on reality than you, so sometimes it doesn't help. And when you start by trusting yourself more and more, you will see the impact it's going to have on the people around you as well. So either they're going to tell you still it's not possible, or they're going to start being more confident about what is possible and then trusting you. And you, since you trust yourself, it's easier for them to trust you as well, and vice versa. So depending, it's also from you, but obviously knowing that other people doing the same, this will help.
And another question that sort of really gets me is, what's the difference in the mindset of a female athlete to a male athlete? Because I'm presuming that although you're still competing in the same way, there are different influences on how you train and how you perceive yourself.
I like that. Well, actually, the thing I would say most different, I work a lot with energy. What I mean by that is, I don't know if you heard about feminine, masculine energy. It's not necessarily about women and men, but actually the way that we act, some energy we use. We both have like the yin and yang, when I'm about that kind of energy inside of us. So the feminine side, more masculine side. When we talk about the masculine energy, it's everything about the doing, the planning, the scheduling, the taking action, the doing. And then we have this feminine energy that is more about the receiving, about the, being calm, being present, the emotional intelligence, all that stuff, the feeling and the being. So most of the time we are, I would say, more attracted to being in a certain energy as athletes, and even as female. Sometimes we're more in the masculine energy, in the doing and the making, and we have to take action, go, and we don't take the time to be to just be, and knowing, like I was talking earlier, being in this champion mentality. So sometimes for men it's easier to be in this go mentality, the doing, and female following, but both of them have to go back to the being, which is something that is put apart. It's going to be easier maybe for women to go back to it because it's this feminine energy, but at the same time, with society the way that it is, we are more prone to be more in the masculine energy either way, to be like, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to get this done, I have to be like this, and just in the doing. But then when you relate to what I was talking earlier, the champion's mentality, just being a champion, what it is really about. It's not about what you do, it's about how you do them and who you are when you do them. This will bring you back to this. So the big difference is that, for example, when I work with male, I would say with guy as athletes, it's more about the being and just only going back to the motivation, the why they are doing this and how they do it, how they see them doing it, and maybe like the not always pushing energy. And for the female, it's going to be a bit of the same thing, but it's just knowing what it's like. And female would be even more, how can I say that? They would not want to go in then thinking that they don't need that, especially the emotional side is a big thing, especially for female. Even though we see female more sensitive, like more emotional, in the sport, it's put aside a lot. We don't want to be sensitive. We don't want to be seen like this. But for some people, it seems like it's weak. So there's a lot of work towards that, to just know that you need your emotion. Your emotion will actually help you a lot. So this is usually the big work to do, to just accept your emotion, let them in, and knowing that if you use them, they can be actually really beneficial. They're going to help you go so much further away in your journey.
Would in that case, because there's a lot of adrenaline that rides in the veins when you're competing, as well as nervousness.
Mm-hmm.
How can you convert those feelings
Yes.
into actual energy?
Love that. So obviously when we about to perform, or even like certain time when we training, like we have this energy, we feel stress. So we most of the time we associate the adrenaline with stress, and we feel that it's negative. We think that it's negative, that it's wrong to feel like this. So as soon as we see it as something bad or not good, we get even more stressed, and we don't feel great about it. So the way that the body reacts to that is by being more tense, contracting, and not moving. We feel slower than usual. Our legs are heavier. So it's just because we attribute a certain meaning to it. So the way to transform it is actually giving a new meaning, a new signification. So the way that I like to put it is, it's actually you're excited about what you're gonna do. So as soon as you feel stressed, and you see it as something that is great, because when you're stressed, what does that really mean? It means that what you're about to do is really important to you. It means a lot. So you're ready to go. So your body is here to support you. That's why the energy, the adrenaline. And when you think about it, being stressed and anxious and being excited is the same thing that's happening in your body. Is the same reaction. So you can actually say, well, actually, I'm excited about this. That's why I'm reacting like this, and I'm ready to go. And then you switch your focus on being excited instead of being stressed and seeing it as a bad thing. You're using your stress to perform instead of seeing your stress as something that is preventing you from performing.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to ask you for a quick couple of tips.
Yes.
Simple tips that anybody would be able to use when they're in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of thing can you do? What about the other thing I want to ask you is visualization, and how important visualization is in your training technique, and the fact that in some situations the mind can't differentiate between the visualization and reality.
Mm-hmm. Well, visualization is a huge tool, really, really, really important, especially for me, because I feel that it did help me a lot when I was competing. It made a big difference. But the thing we have to know about visualization is it's not about seeing things and just watching a movie in our head. It's all about the feelings, okay, that we connect to it, the emotion that we connect to it. That's why I was saying earlier that emotions are really beneficial. They can be really useful if we know how to use them. So when we visualize, we are actually either recreating a scene in our mind, something that can be, if you just start with if you're a beginner at visualization, it can be great to just visualize yourself doing a certain move that you know, a simple technique. So you're able to, first of all, focus on this simple technique, seeing yourself doing or being the person that is doing it. This is usually the best because it's easier afterward to connect the sensations. But then when you're doing this technique, you have to focus not only on that, but also what's going on around. So being able to use your 5 senses as much as possible to make it the more realistic. So to make it as true as possible to you. So real, really real. So even what you're seeing around you, are you in a certain room that you really know, at your club, at your gym? Where are you exactly? If you're seeing yourself, for example, kicking a pad, kicking a shield, who is holding the shield? How is the shield like? How does it feel to kick in the shield? Also, the sensation that you feel on your foot while you kick. This is really important to be able to recreate it while you're doing it in your mind. So even, and like you just said, the brain doesn't make the difference in between what you're doing at this moment or what you're doing in your mind. So if you're thinking about kicking, you might feel your muscle contracting at this moment, at this right moment. So that's why it's great, because you don't necessarily need to train all the time for real. Obviously you need a certain amount, okay, because you have to know what is the technique, how to do it well. So then after that, you can do it in your mind good. So you have to start with something first, a good base, a good foundation. But then after that, when you're starting to know how to do a technique well, you can do it in your mind and still get the workout, a good workout from it. So you might not sweat as much, obviously, but your brain and your body will connect well, and your muscle will know exactly what to do and how to contract. So it will become more like a more automatic to you to do it later on. So the connection will be there. So that's why it's really beneficial.
So is it better then to be utilizing that then to actually program yourself for when you're training?
Totally. I would say that, like I said, the first step is having like this simple technique that you're practicing, but then later on you can do so many things with visualization. For example, you can put yourself in this mood of, like I was saying, the being, like feeling like a champion in your visualization. So like acting like one, I would say it like that, just having this how you stand, how you like see this situation. Maybe there's a crowd of people, maybe you're hearing something in music. I used to put this noise, like a crowd noise in the background from my phone, so I was visualizing my tournaments, and the way that I was performing, so I will do pattern sparring, and I would hear in the background like the noise of being like really performing for real. So that will bring me in the moment a lot. And then I will see myself feeling confident. How does it feel like to be confident? Knowing the sensation inside of me that refers to being confident, being courageous, being proud, all these good things. So when you're able to connect to that and then you act from there, you're going to be able to reproduce that afterwards. So yes, like as more as you practice this, you can start doing more complex scenes in your mind. So just adding everything all together. So I used to see myself doing a warm-up and feeling the stretch when I was like just doing, like elevating my kicks and doing stuff like that. And then I was seeing myself doing the patterns and the feeling when I was doing a certain move, the techniques and everything. Will see myself go round after round and going on the podium, the feeling that I will get when I get on the podium and I win. And I will do again the same thing for sparring in other division I was competing in. So everything has to be involved. The people that you see, the feeling of your feet on the mats, everything that you can bring in will really help you.
Okay, so I'm going to turn the lights on. Give me 1 second. Okay, so we're going to take a few questions now. Let's just have a little look. What do you think about Muay Thai? Okay.
Well, actually, I've never tried Muay Thai, so I cannot have like a real opinion about it. I do like what I see, because obviously I love martial arts, so I have nothing against any other martial arts. So I'm all good about it.
Okay, so if anybody's got some questions on, whoops, let me just bring this back, on mindset, then fire them down now. I'm going to take a little look, see if I've got anything that I need to ask at the moment. Okay.
Have a good night.
That's a popular question.
Yeah, right? Live with some people.
Okay. I will rest and sleep. There was a question that I saw up here. I'm trying to find it. Let's have a look. Fire the questions in, guys. Okay. Is there any side effects of doing gym or bodybuilding?
Side effect, depend what it means about the side effect, like what the person is talking about exactly. But obviously when you train, there's going to be side effect about your body, so it's specific impact. Like obviously you can gain mass and stuff like that, but on your mind, the question I feel is pretty large. What is the side effect you're talking about, like bad outcome from this, or?
Let me ask you another question, actually. Yeah. I've done a lot of training in my time.
Yes.
And my dad does a lot of training, actually. And we were having a conversation the other day about reps and about because there's a mindset. We do a lot of reading on the body and how the body works, and putting the body under stress to get results. And we were trying to work out about rep rates and the fact that you can reach a certain level when you go over 100 or 200, which sounds like big numbers. If you're doing something like pull-ups or dips, people start thinking, gosh, 200. Well, actually, there's a hyperopathy that takes part once you reach a certain number, and your body then reacts in a completely different way than it would normally. Now, is that down to mindset? Or is that just down to genetics?
I would say it can be, like, I see as a mix of both and different factor. Obviously, how the mind will is affecting this is mainly because the way that you would see, again, this number or the reaction that you have in your body towards this kind of number you're hitting, your body will react a certain way, and the meaning you attribute to this feeling will make a big difference. So if you see it as something that, oh my God, maybe I'm in pain right now, it's not good for my body, then the body is like, oh, it's not good for me. So it's like contracting, is like reacting to that. So it's at this point is knowing like how you're going to deal with it and how you seeing it, so you can question yourself about it while it's happening. So obviously it's always going to be a part about the mind, what we think it's happening, and the body reacts like automatically to it. So that's why mind-body connection, this is something that already, like, something you think will influence your body, and your body will react, and this reaction will influence your thoughts, and this will be a great cycle of what was going to happen. So, and genetic, I mean, obviously what comes from obviously the parents and everything can affect, because in their gene, and it's maybe a certain person would have, it's going to be easier to do something, they will be genetically more prone to be able to do certain things. But then again, it doesn't initially mean that you're not going to be able. It goes a lot with your mind, so much, because you're the one limiting yourself to something. If you believe that you got this from someone else, then part of you believe that it's possible, so therefore you're going to be able to do it. But if you say, well, it's like nobody was able to do it in my family, so it's not in my genes, and you believe that because who said it was in your gene? Like, you didn't do the test, so we don't know if is that really true. So then after that, it still comes from your mind if it's going to happen or not. Yeah.
Well, in that situation, then do you disassociate pain with the mind? So for instance, this is a question that we ask ourselves all the time. Is that with your mind, you can almost drive yourself to destruction if your mind has been trained in a certain way.
Totally. And
So therefore, if you get rid of all the limitations, then you can actually drive yourself that hard that you can become injured.
Yeah.
So how do you find the correct level between training the mind and then making sure that you're not affecting the body in a negative way?
That's a good question. I love it, because earlier someone asked, can we get rid of the ego? Because the ego is going to be there like to tell us no, and to like give us like a bit the limitation, because it wants to protect us from pain, but from death also. So that's kind of part of it. Like, it's been there forever in our mind to make sure that we don't get to this point. And we have to make sure, because as athletes, as people who want to train hard and make sure that we are able to do the things that we want to do, we also have to be able to listen to the body, which is kind of a bit different than the ego. That's part of the mind that wants to protect us, but then we have to question. Actually, we have to know if it is sane or insane what's going on right now. And depending on what you want to do, obviously you can push yourself, but you would have to I would say experiment with your own self to see what is your limit, what is possible to you, and see how far you can go. So obviously there can be a moment that you fail at maintaining yourself, and you know you've been too far and it's maybe too late, because then you saw that you were able to surpass the pain level and in your mind with it, because your mind's going to yell, your ego's going to yell at some point, be like, no, it's too much. But then is it because it's scary, or is it because it's really something that's going to injure you for real? Is it like, what is it exactly? So you have to question yourself about that. And then taking the time after a training or something to even if it seems weird, but having this conversation with your body, kind of, meaning that what I'm feeling right now, is it the pain that comes from my mind? Is it really something that physically that I feel, and that can bring me to like either being burned out, because it can be also a thing, or injured, really physically injured. So sometimes we want to push ourselves way too much. So it's the other extreme. So we are afraid either being lazy or too intense. So we have to find a balance in between what it's like, but we have to test ourselves to know. It's like everybody's going to have his own limits physically, but we have to test ourselves and see what's possible for us. So I would say that would be the best way. Just always questioning yourself about, is it right for me or not? And also referring to your goal, like what is really your goal, you know?
Okay, no, that makes a lot of sense for me. Especially, as I say, we've been trained in a certain way and to have a certain mindset, and so in that case, then what would the responsibility of your instructor be then? Because mindsets have changed a hell of a lot from when I first started having an interest in martial arts. And if you go back to some of the Chinese martial arts back then, it was well known and documented that people were forced into split positions, and you know, and so that means that their minds would have been telling them they couldn't do these things, and their bodies would have been reacting as well. So as you say, tensing up because they think they couldn't do these things. But their instructor will be forcing them to do these things.
Totally. Yeah.
You know, in that situation, what happens? Does your mindset change, or what happens?
It does change, because again, like, your mind will always refer to what it knows. So if it never happened before, it's hard to conceptualize in your mind that it's a possibility. So you've been forced to do something, so then now you know it's possible. So then later on, you know that if you do the same process, you're going to be able to access that. But it's just the process, maybe that's not the best, because obviously it is the same thing about I love the reference to that, but no pain, no gain, like just working hard, and that's it. Is the only thing you do. You obviously can achieve results with that. The thing is, it's going to be, are you going to be able to maintain that on long term? Are you going to be able to be healthy at the end? Are you going to be able to handle yourself at the end? Because obviously, if you just do and, you know, force yourself doing something and don't listen to yourself, yes, some people won like this. It's not like, some people did win like this because they showed themselves that something's possible. There's always positive, you know, behind everything. There's always a positive intention behind everything. We just have to take the positive, but then transform it to make it as positive as possible. So maybe there's another way for you to experiment this as something enjoyable, and also something that give you the result. So pushing yourself to a certain point, but like testing yourself as an instructor will be to as much as possible being able to challenge and test your student with things like saying, okay, this is possible, and showing example of what's possible, so people can get around it and be like, oh, can it be possible for me? And when you see the mind being, when you see the person reacting in a certain way, challenge it and see where is the limit, and then giving more and more responsibility of what they choose. Do they want to see things and be scared of this? They prefer to be in their comfort zone, or they want to challenge themselves, asking things differently. So as an instructor, the role is to support and give space to the person to express themselves and live the emotion. That's obviously the big thing. And after that, challenging the person to see things differently if needed. If they want to become a champion, have to think like a champion. Thinking as a champion is not just about like this care, but just thinking that everything's going to turn bad, everything is bad, and you have to pressure yourself to that to ride to your end. It's just all about knowing what is possible and give these options to the person.
Okay. I'm going to ask you for a short tip.
Yes.
So I'm just entering the arena, and in front of me are 4 or 5 judges or referees or grandmasters and masters, because I'm about to do a grading. Okay. So my heart's fluttering. I'm getting a bit warm.
Yes.
I'm getting a little bit clammy, and I'm really, really worried now about what's going to happen the next few minutes. Okay, so let me just take this guy off my page here. So when all this is happening, just get rid of him. Give me a quick tip of something that I could do to get those nerves settled, get me focused and into the zone within a few minutes.
Okay, so first of all, like if you don't have that much time, is to use your body. So your body, as soon as you get into the negative thought, will, like I said, feel really tense, not good. So you have to move. Move your body, shake it off. Okay, shake that energy off, and then you're the one in charge. So you are the one in charge of what you want to have to as a result. So being clear on what you want from this event, from what's happening, from obviously if you're about to test, you want to be able to do your patterns, you want to be able to do this is how you want to feel while doing it. I want to feel confident, I want to feel proud. So putting yourself in these sensations. So now that you shake the energy off, trying to stand in a position, maybe closing your eyes, breathing a little bit just to calm everything. So when your body is calm, your mind tends to calm too. So that helps a lot to just recalibrate everything. But then after that, you have to be able to focus on the thing that you want, not the thing that you don't want. So if you think about not being stressed, you're still thinking about being stressed. So what you want confident, you want to feel calm, you want to feel proud, you want to feel this. So thinking towards that and knowing how it feels like in the body and acting this way, that will help a lot. So, and also what I was thinking before, I was talking about before, the energy you're feeling in your body. What do you want it to mean? You want it to mean that you're stressed and it's a bad thing. You want it to mean that you're excited and you're ready for this. And then look for the things that will remind you that you are ready for this. People are there to cheer you up. People that you're around who's going to help you, grade and test and have a good result. You did the work before that. You're here right now. You can be proud of that. So just reminding yourself all these things going to bring you in this mood. And when you're in this great attitude, this will influence the way that you act and you react, and therefore influence the result that you will get.
Brilliant. So guys, I'm hoping that that information there is going to help all of you that will be testing, whether you're testing online, whether you're competing online, or whether you're there in the dojo, because the stresses, I'm presuming, are different. When you're in front of a camera to when you're in front of people, you're going to have different experiences. But the feelings will still be the same. And I'm assuming, which I might see if I can get you to do that, maybe a 3 or a 4 point plan of what you should do in that situation. So from the point of coming into the room, so we have a few techniques, not too bad at mind stuff, whereby if we're going to compete, might go down the night before, have a look at the room, have a look at the spaces, and take the room in, and understand that on the following day you're going to be there on the mats.
Yes.
So you automatically you've already got an advantage because you've seen what's coming.
Yeah, you feel more safe about it. Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's known now. Yeah.
And then when the crowd arrives, you get there 5 minutes early, already in the room. The crowd arrives, and you then start taking on the atmosphere. So automatically now you have the atmosphere. You understand the room that you're in, and that familiarization helps to calm your nerves and keep you settled. Would that work? Would that be part of a process that could work in those situations?
I would say so, just because I used to do that too, going before, even the day before and days before, we will practice and have a workout done before the tournament, just to put ourselves in the mood. I will look at the setup, how it's like, and that will help after that to integrate in the visualization just before the tournament. So I love visualization, doing visualization just before competing, the night before, like obviously way before that also, but just the night before. Now you can introduce that in your visualization, the place exactly where you're going to compete. So what that does actually is make you feel more safe and secure and more in the known, That's how I feel it. So there's less surprise. You feel more in control by seeing this. So it's not like everything's happening all at the same time. You have to manage everything. Now you know the place, you know where the people will be sitting, you know, maybe the judges, like you saw some people. Now you're comforting your mind. That's what's happening. Like the ego, when it's too much unknown instability, like it doesn't know what's going to happen, that's when it freaks out. So as soon as you feed it with things like that, it helps for sure. So that it's a good way.
Fantastic. I'm going to see if we've got any more questions down here. I love to be kind to people every day. That's my way. Good.
That's good.
Find it useful. What's going on? Sorry. Gosh, a lot of comments. So it's taking me a bit of time to come down. Like they say in Catafy. Carry me, I can clearly see what it is I have with me. Yeah, so they're talking about focus. 1,000 kicks. Oh, Ariella's.
I saw you.
Yeah.
Okay. How come can you actually be? Yeah. Okay.
Fantastic. So, what happened if you freak out during the tournament? Freeze up.
Love that. Good question. Well, when you freak out and tense up, again, first of all, maybe the hardest thing, but first of all, you have to work on this first, is being able to be conscious about it. Meaning you have to realize that you're freezing up at the moment. This is usually the hardest thing because you're the one like living it at the moment. You're the one freaking out. So it can be hard to just know what's happening. So like I was talking earlier, the awareness part, like becoming the observer of yourself. So as soon as you freak out, maybe someone's going to tell me, maybe your coach can be the one like telling you, or with time, with practice, before that, something you can work on, you can realize that you're freaking out. Then what? Starting from there, it's being able to, like I said a bit before, like shake it up. When it's in the moment, you have to shake it up a little bit because you want to change your mental state. Shake your body, and now think about what you want, not what's happening, not what just happened in the past. What are the things that can happen in the future? Now, what do you want? You want to relax, you want to keep your guard up, you want to make a 3 points, like, I don't know, depending which sport we're talking about, but what do you want to do now? How do you want to feel, and what do you want to do? So it's refocusing on the task ahead and not in the future, or not just what happened in the past, being able to turn the page. So when you freeze, you have to be in action, but knowing exactly, being clear on what you want at the moment.
Superb. Another great answer.
Yes.
So, Maxine, thank you very much for spending all this time with us and giving us some insight into how the mind works and how to coach the mind and train the mind. Maxine is going to be joining our team in January, and she will be available for one-on-one instruction. If you feel that you need to learn the champion mindset, or you need that additional support to help you through your grading, or you know, to be able to go out there and win, then Maxine's going to be available for you. So make sure that you make good use of that. We're trying to get all these different things in place when we take on board our online academy in January. So I'm sure everybody today is grateful for you coming on. We've had over 3,000 people tuning in today.
Thank you. That's amazing. Great. Well, thank you so much for the invitation and everything. And thank you, everybody, for, well, the support of the people that were here and that participated in the seminar. I really appreciate that. And I'm really excited about what's coming up for January. So thank you for bringing me in the team. That's really great.
No, that's excellent, and I'm sure that people now understand what your knowledge is and what we're talking about now when we talk about learning the mindset of a champion, which is as important of just as going out there and kicking, punching.
It is, yeah. You have to take that in mind for sure, because the work is all about what you're doing, but how you're doing it as well. So the mind is really important, and usually that's the mind that's blocking you and that's preventing you from evolving and becoming better. So when you feel stuck, that's when you can ask yourself, what else can I do? And that's usually mind work.
Okay, so we're gonna be continuing on with our seminar in probably 30 minutes. When Ariella's going to take you through a live training session, bring your water, etc.
Yes.
Because it's going to be pretty hard. I've trained with Ariella before, so I know what's coming.
She's good. She's good. you're gonna sweat, guys. That's good.
And Ariella also uses Maxine's skill set to help her win competitions as well. So if you want to ask her any questions when we finish, then feel free to do so. I can see Ariella's on. So Ariella,
yes.
I'm going to come off here on live, and then I'm going to go live with you. Actually, I might just go live with you quickly so we can get an idea of what you've got coming up, and then we can get you set up on Zoom and ready to start holding this session. So thanks again, Maxine, so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you coming along and helping us out today. And we hope to see you again in the future. We can get you back on.
Yes,
and,
for sure.
Maybe we can set up a full program for people to take part in.
Yeah, that will be awesome. We'll talk about it.
Wonderful.
Yes.
So Ariella, if you can just put a request in, we're going to take Maxine out now. Have a great Christmas.
Thank you. You too, everybody. Happy holidays. Enjoy your time.
Yeah, enjoy your Christmas, because we're on the countdown now.
Yes.
Less than 7 days to go.
Crazy. I know, right? That's awesome.
And then we're going to enter a new year, and hopefully we'll be rid of the virus and everything, and we can start pushing forwards and enjoying ourselves throughout the next year. I'll come back and ask questions. Yes, do that.
Awesome.
Next time.
Thank you, everybody. Really appreciate.
Thanks again, Maxine, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. Yes, bye. Have a great day. Thank you. Yes, bye. Have a good day.
Okay, so we had Maxine there. Hope you really enjoyed that. It was very insightful. And remember, we're not just an Instagram Taekwondo page. We do really want you guys to learn more about the intricacies of Taekwondo and also mindset, and to train with us. So it's not just about watching our amazing videos, watching all these people that got these amazing skills. We want you to improve your Taekwondo. Let me just see if I've got Ariella. Ariella, are you there? If you're there, just give me a wave, and I'll see if I can get you in very quickly. Just have a look. Okay, if not, we'll just go back there. Saw her here. Here we go. Okay, if not, just go back there. Saw her here. Here we go.
But the thing, like I said,